everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Leadership Unfiltered. I'm your host, Deborah Mays Jackson, and I'm so glad you're here. Throughout my career as a teacher, principal, assistant superintendent, vice president, chief of staff, executive leader, and leadership consultant, I've learned that leadership is filled with difficult decisions. Some are small, some are life-changing, some keep you awake at night. But I've discovered something that experience has taught me. The greatest mistakes leaders make isn't making the wrong decision, it's not making a decision at all. We've all worked with leaders who delayed difficult conversation, delayed hiring, delayed addressing poor performance, delayed solving obvious problems. Everyone knew something needed to happen. Everyone was waiting. And because the leader refused to decide, the organization paid the price. Today's conversation isn't about making perfect decisions. It's about having the courage to make timely ones. Because here's what I've learned. Indecision costs far more than the wrong decision ever will. Now let's talk leadership unfiltered. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched an organization slowly lose its momentum? Not because people lacked talent, but because the leader would not make a decision, and no one else would either. I've seen it happen, and it's very frustrating. Meetings about meetings, committees discussing committees. Weeks turn into months. The problems get bigger. People become frustrated. The strongest employees begin asking themselves, does anyone know what we are doing or where we are going? Here's the reality. Indecision doesn't look dramatic. It rarely makes headlines, but quietly, it drains morale, it wastes money, it frustrates employees, and eventually, it destroys trust. Leadership is not measured by how long you study the problem. Leadership is measured by whether there is confidence that someone is willing to lead them through it. One of the biggest myths in leadership is this: I'll decide when I have all the information. Really? When has that ever happened? Leadership rarely gives us perfect information. If you're waiting for certainty, you'll spend your whole career waiting. The most effective leaders I've worked with, including myself, didn't have all the answers. They simply gathered enough information to move forward. There's an old leadership principle called the 80% rule. If you're about 80% confident, move. Adjust if necessary. Improve as you go, because progress almost always beats perfection. The truth is, many decisions are not permanent. They are adjustable, which brings me to one of my favorite illustrations. Imagine a frog jumping onto a lily pad. If the pad isn't stable, the frog simply jumps to another one. Leadership is much the same. Most decisions can be corrected. A hiring decision, a project, a process, a strategy. Those things can be adjusted. What becomes difficult to fix is the indecisive culture where nobody is willing to decide. Over the years, I've noticed three characteristics of decisive leaders. First, they move with purpose. They gather enough information to make an informed decision. Then they move. Second, they stand behind their decision, not stubbornly, responsibly. Once the decision is made, the team deserves a confident leader who's willing to stand behind their decision and confident enough to own it and adjust if needed. Nothing creates anxiety faster than a leader constantly changing directions, always bringing new programs and new command changes. Third, they own the outcome. No blaming, no finger pointing, no excuses. If it works, great. If it doesn't, they learn, adjust, and move forward. That's leadership. If you struggle with decisiveness, here are three things that have helped me. First, set decision deadlines. Don't let important issues linger indefinitely. Every significant decision deserves a deadline. Second, clarify ownership. Who actually owns the decision? Is it you or someone else? When everyone owns it, no one owns it. Confusion creates hesitation. Clarity creates momentum. Third, accept that not every decision will be perfect. Leadership is not perfection. Leadership is progress. The best leaders are not fearless. They simply act in the presence of fear, refusing to let fear decide for them. As always, I want to leave you with 5 questions. Am I delaying a decision because I genuinely need more information or because I'm afraid of making the wrong choice? What difficult conversations have I been avoiding? What opportunity has my team missed because I haven't decided? Does my team trust me to provide direction? And if I made a decision today, what positive momentum could begin tomorrow? Those questions require honesty, but honest leaders become trusted leaders. I'll leave you with this. Leadership is not about always being right. One quality is being willing to make a timely, informed decision. Some decisions will succeed, some won't. But your team does not need perfection. They need your guidance and leadership to motivate and move them forward. Remember, a wrong decision can often be corrected. A delayed decision often creates unnecessary problems. As the Roman poet Virgil wisely said, fortune favors the brave. So this week, be brave. Choose courage over comfort. Choose progress over perfection. Choose decisive leadership over endless hesitation. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Let's Talk Leadership Unfiltered. If today's conversation challenged your thinking, share it with another leader. Subscribe, like, and leave comments or questions. And join me next time as we continue having honest conversations about what leadership really looks like. Until then, continue to make dynamic connections. Lead with purpose, lead with courage, lead with integrity. And remember, people don't expect leaders to be perfect. They expect leaders to be willing to stand up and lead. Blessings to you.